Dear brothers and sisters, number one, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has extended our lives to witness this blessed month of Ramadan. Many people died before reaching the month of Ramadan, and many people missed so much Ramadan that you have witnessed because Allah extended your life till your 30s or 40s or 50s or higher. The longer Allah extends your life as a Muslim, this is an additional blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you did not work for, because none of us can control when he dies. None of us decides, and no one is consulted on this matter. Allah does not take the opinion of anyone as to when he is going to take his life and soul back to him. And it is Allah's wisdom to take this soul at a younger age or a middle age or a higher age. It's only up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the one who has been spared and left to attend more Ramadan, to pray more fara'id, to pray more nawafil, optional prayers, or to fast more, or to make dhikr more, he has to know that every additional moment he was granted is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a favor that Allah has favored him over many of his creation. Subhanallah. We know this because Prophet ﷺ has told us that no one should wish to die soon just because he is being hurt or afflicted by calamity. لا يتمنين أحدكم الموت لضر يصيبه. And he also told us that a believer's age and life only increases him in goodness and blessing and reward. The longer you live, every single day is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, more reward. Because it is a balance. Our deeds, our evil deeds, and our good deeds are being weighed against each other. And the more you live as a believer, acquiring more good deeds and less evil deeds, because each one also acquires some evil deeds, correct? All of us. But a believer tries to not make it a habit that he is a habitual sinner. A believer tries to always go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even if he commits a sin, and that can wipe away the sin and even convert it into a reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and a blessing and a mercy. So that is why your life and your age always increases you in blessing and rahmah and reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even during the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there were two brothers. One of them died at a younger age as a martyr, and his brother lived after him several years. Not too long, but several years. Because they both died during the life of the Prophet ﷺ. And one of their friends saw them in a vision, a dream at night. And he saw that the one who lived a few years later, longer, was at a higher ranking and a higher status in Jannah compared to the one who acquired the Shahada and was a martyr. But subhanallah, he was confused by this image, but he went and told it to Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ explained it to him that yes, this is a true vision. It is a message from Allah. Number one, Prophet ﷺ acknowledged that this is a message from Allah, because the vision that you get, it could be a message from Allah, or it could be something that you were thinking about, hadithu nafs, or it could be from the shaitan. Number one, Prophet ﷺ did not say that this was from shaitan or it was from your nafs. No, he basically acknowledged that this was a message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he did ta'bir, he explained it. Because if it was hadith nafs, it does not require explanation, nor does those that come from the shaitan. They will have no explanation. So he gave him the explanation that this man acquired more good deeds. He did more fara'id, he did more nawafil, optional prayers. And then specifically he told him that he attended more Ramadan than the brother who died as a martyr. And that was sufficient to elevate him above the level of a martyr. For subhanallah, we have to always think like this, that every single moment you live as a believer only increases you in goodness and blessing and closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ranking in Jannah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those. Ameen. Number two, we have to think that we have been deceiving ourselves so much throughout our life, and throughout the year, each year we deceive ourselves. We say to ourselves, oh, I cannot attend the Isha in Jama'ah, I just need to sleep. Or I'm just going to pray now Isha and I cannot go to the masjid. Oh, I can't come to the masjid in Fajr, it's just too early. If I go to the Fajr in the masjid, then I will lose my sleep. I cannot fall back asleep and go to work, and so on. So many excuses. Some people will even say, I cannot even wake up for Fajr, even at home. I will put my alarm on for my work schedule. For subhanallah. Is the dunya more important than the akhirah? Are some dollars more important than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of the heavens and earth? We have to think that we have been fooling ourselves, deceiving ourselves, and depriving ourselves from so much blessing and goodness. Only when we mend what is between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will Allah mend our lives and give us happiness. Dollars and wealth will not give us happiness. Health will not give you happiness. Many people who are sick are happier than healthy people. Many people who are poor are much happier than wealthy people. We see this all the time. This is not, I don't have to prove it to you. We see this. Each one of us knows these facts from experience in life. Why is that? We have seen and we know that the happiest people are the closest people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People who are righteous sometimes used to say that we are so happy we feel that our hearts are dancing. إِنَّ الْقَلْبَ لَيَرْقُصُ فَرْحًا. How is that? While most people are suffering from depression. How is that? How is it possible? It is the closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأَنَّهُ هُوَ أَضْحَكَ وَأَبْكَى. Allah is the one who makes people cry, and He is the one who makes people laugh. Look at the ayah. أضحك. This is the highest level of happiness, when you are laughing. Because happiness is great. You can be happy, but nobody can see it on the outside. But imagine the highest level of happiness is just laughing, laughter. While the strongest level of sadness and sorrow leads to crying, abka. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about those extremes of emotions. He is in control of both of them. What does this tell you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that everything in between He also controls. If you just want happiness, He is still within that range. He is in control of it. Okay? If you want Him to protect you from some sadness and some grief, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also in control of this. Yes, we all pass through trials, and the trials of this dunya do bring some grief. But when one is close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his iman will carry him. His iman will give him endurance and perseverance and sabr. His iman will give him sweetness to deal. Look at the dua of the Prophet ﷺ. وَمِنَ الْيَقِينِ مَا تُهَوِّنُ بِهَ عَلَيْنَا مَصَائِبَ الدُّنْيا. The yaqeen, according to this dua, he used to make, give me enough yaqeen to make that disasters and hardships and calamities of this dunya easy on me. The stronger the yaqeen, the stronger the iman, the stronger the sweetness of the iman, the stronger the link with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything becomes easy. Everything becomes easy. Wallahi, we've heard stories, so many stories about this. One of the strangest stories and most remarkable ones, and I've mentioned this several years ago, and it's a true story, from a person who witnessed it. I heard him speaking in a program, and this man, I don't think he's lying, because he has no motive to lie. And this man was jailed for 23 years with this other man who died in jail. So he saw him and he saw his condition in jail. They were jailed in an underground jail. This was in Morocco. And you can go and you can watch those episodes. I think there are 10 episodes. It's called Tazma Mart. Sijn Tazma Mart. You can go and listen to it. Unfortunately, it's only in Arabic. But people who understand Arabic can go and listen to these episodes. So what he was saying is that they were in this underground jail. They don't even see the light for 23 years. And why were they in jail for so long? That is because they were accused of trying to overthrow the government. We live in an age of tyrants. Our countries, all of our countries, are hijacked. Muslims are not in control of their countries, by the way. We are slaves and prisoners in our own countries. Each single country of the Muslims, we are slaves within it. We are prisoners within it. And people who are in control of our countries are not from us. Many of them are not even Muslims. They are hypocrites, tyrants, agents of people, of the enemies of these countries and enemies of our religion. This is the fact. We have to know it. We shouldn't be surprised. Allah is showing us the signs day and night. Every single day, I challenge you. You wake up one day and you don't see a big scandal from one of these leaders. A big scandal that something a Muslim would never do. Anyhow, those people, they were accused and they were only in their 20s, accused of trying to overthrow the king in Morocco. That's years ago. So they were put in this horrific jail. I think they were 50. I think, if I remember correctly, only 19 came out of that jail. The rest died in the jail. Malnutrition, no light, depression. Some of them just died of depression. They couldn't eat. Cold, it was extremely cold. They couldn't sleep at night. He said that just to be able to survive the night, we would have to stay up all night walking, spacing the small cell at all times, otherwise they would die of hypothermia. Every night, this is how it was their routine. They said, Wallah, it's horrific. They said one time, there was a small hole, like a bird came inside. They were so happy that this bird gave them company. When the bird died, they all started crying for a small bird. And subhanAllah, we have the blessing of our families, our wives and children, and we don't even know the value of this blessing. But even a small bird they were happy about. Anyhow, one of those people got so sick that he could not move anymore. He lost movement. He basically became crippled. And just, I can't say bedridden because there were no beds. He was on the floor of the cell at all times. Bed sores, you know what the bed sores are? The skin rots. They could not move him from his place. He would lose control of his bladder and bowel all in the same place. So this man was telling that how he took care of him. All he asked the prison guards, just allow me to take care of him in his cell. He took care of him. And they allowed him, for this, and they granted him this thing. So instead of each one being isolated, so he stayed with him in his cell. He said, I took care of him for a month until he died. He says, despite being in such a miserable state, you can't move. You're on a cold, harsh floor, and you can't even clean yourself. And the infection and the skin is rotten, and the body is basically being eaten by bacteria or by bugs or whatever. He says, this man had so much happiness. He was always laughing and smiling. He says, as if he was living like kings until he died. Subhanallah. And you find some people who have everything in life and they cannot enjoy anything. So we know happiness does not come from material things. We know this. It only comes if Allah puts the happiness in our hearts. So where do we get the happiness? From its source, from its owner, from the one who controls it. We have to think. There's announcements, inshallah, I need to make, but there's not much time now, I know, because some people need to get back to work. But please, after the salah, allow me just a couple of minutes to make those announcements. Inshallah, we'll make dua. This is the last Jummah in Ramadan.